Hey guys, it's me, Kayla Z the Destroyer, and today I am going to be reading Mila 2.0 by Debra Driza. I'm butchering that. But I'm going to be reading this chapter by chapter. It's a book I got at my school from my English teacher. So, here goes nothing. Beyond the eastern border of Greenwood Ranch, orange poured across the sky, edging the clouds like flames. Flames. I clenched handfuls of Bliss's silky thick mane and squeezed my eyes shut, searching for my memories, for the black haze of smoke, for the smell of burning wood and plastic, of smoldering fillies, shirts, and baby photos, for sirens and screams, for anything at all that hinted at fire, for Dad. Beneath me, the horse snorted. I relaxed. I'm sorry. I relaxed my grip and smoothed her mane back into place. Nothing. Once again, I'd conjured up what was a big fat bunch of nothing. Over 4 weeks since the accident that had ended my father's life, the memories still resisted my every attempt to unlock them. I opened my eyes, just as something flashed in my mind. White walls, white lights, a white lab coat, the searing aroma of bleach. My skin prickled. From the hospital I'd been taken to, maybe, after the fire. It was the closest I'd come to remembering anything so far. I grasped at the images, trying to drag them into view, but they vanished as fast as they had appeared. Now that my eyes were open, what wouldn't disappear was the picket fence blocking our path, its white posts stabbing upward and bisecting an unrelenting sprawl of green, green, green. The other thing that wouldn't disappear as much as I dreamed otherwise, good old Clearwater, Minnesota, my new home as of 30 days ago. Land of grass, trees, dirt, and scattered old ranch-style houses tucked between plots of farmland. Home of work trucks and the thick, earthy stench of manure. A town so tiny it didn't even have its own movie theater or a McDonald's. A place where, according to Kaylee, the soul listening under Yelp, I'm sorry. This is going to happen a lot. A place where, according to Kaylee, the sole listing under Yelp's arts and entertainment section was mountain taxidermy. Nothing said good times like a stuffed mammal. Bliss snorted and yanked her head away from the fence, back in the direction of the stables. I couldn't blame her. The fields and lakes and quiet that Mom accepted so readily held nothing for me either. They couldn't. Not when every good memory had been created back in Philly. At least these ones I could still remember. I rubbed my cheek against the green and tan flannel, Dad's shirt collar, sinking comfort in the soft fabric. Dad had worn this shirt as he guided me through throngs of Phillies fans inside Citizens Park, his hand gentle on my elbow while the aroma of popcorn and hot dogs and overheated bodies surrounded us. The hollow widened in my chest. How was it that some memories played so vividly behind my eyes like DVDs, complete with sounds and smells, while others not at all? Mom said anxiety following a traumatic death was normal, that it did odd things to our brains. A nice way of saying I wasn't crazy, because I could recall the exact layout of our old house and the way Dad bumped one arm in the air when he cheered for his favorite team, yet couldn't remember something as simple as my favorite brand of jeans, or if I liked to go on bike rides, or if I'd ever been in love. Mom assured me it would all come back eventually. My dad never would. I dug my nails into the leather reins and drew in a deep, shuddering breath. Everything burned to ashes along with our old house. Everything except for one pathetic shirt. Bliss pawed the ground, kicking up a clump of grass. She whinnied in anticipation of escape. I knew exactly how she felt. I steered Bliss away from the fence before nudging her into a trot, her body swaying rhythmically beneath me. A chilly breeze brushed over my face. I threw back my head and allowed the grassy, sweet gusts to grab at my hair, my shirt, the painful ache that lived where my heart should be. If only the breeze could pick me up and carry me back in time. The ache between my lungs grew like it was trying to medicitize the rest of my body. Let's go! I dug my heels into Bliss's sides. The mare didn't need to be asked twice. All 1,500 pounds of horse surged forward at once. Power roared up from her legs and slammed into me, and I leaned over, pressing my body as close to the mare's as possible, relishing the snap of her mane whipping into my face. The faster we went, the more the ache in my chest seemed to subside, as if my pounding heart and each one of Bliss's hoof strikes hammered the pain into a smaller and smaller ball. I urged Bliss even faster as we raced back for the stables. Boulders rose before us, part of the decorative wall that meandered through a small portion of the 25-acre property. I was already defying Mom by venturing above a speed of painfully dull. Jumping was out of the question, especially since I'd never done it before, or had I? The rocks grew closer and closer. Either I veered away now or carried out a split-second and idiotic attempt to slam my memory back into gear. I let the reins slip through my fingers. Idiotic it was. The mare's powerful muscles gathered beneath my legs, and our soar into the air felt amazing, like I was part of Bliss and the two of us were flying, until the stirrup gave under my right foot, until the saddle slipped. I lost balance, slid sideways with a loosened saddle, saw the rocks rush towards me. I pictured my head splattering open like a broken egg while my pulse pounded a terrified drumbeat in my ears. You're a goner, flashed through my mind, and then my hands lashed out quicker than I even knew I could move. I grabbed hold of Bliss's mane, pulled myself upright with remarkable ease, just as Bliss's front hooves crashed into the ground. Yes! An exhilarated laugh exploded from my mouth. So I hadn't conjured up my past, but I did feel more alive than I had in weeks, like the whole world had burst into high definition. Plus, I had wicked good reflexes. Maybe one day, Mom would tell me if sports featured prominently in those missing chunks of my life. Mila! Speaking of whom, busted. I slowed Bliss to a trot, my stomach clenched as we drew closer to the willowy figure who stood near the gravel driveway. Of course, the expression on Mom's heart-shaped face was as poised as ever. Not even a single blonde hair strayed from her usual neat ponytail. The wiry arms crossed under her chest hinted at annoyance, but that was all the reaction I got. Disappointing, but hardly shocking. Nothing fazed Nicole Daly, not one of the critically injured horses she tended or impromptu moved to a new state, and certainly not one slightly rebellious, hugely heartbroken daughter. When I pulled the horse to a stop, Mom's dark blue eyes remained neutral behind the square frames of her glasses. I'm sure I've told you not to ride faster than a walk. Was there a point to that? I dismounted and patted the blowing horse on the neck. My shoulders hitched back. No point. Her eyebrows arched over her lenses, accenting her surprise. Then her lipstick-free mouth flattened into a thin line, a spurt of satisfaction. I wasn't feeling nice. I see. An abrupt shake of her head, followed by her slender fingers rubbing the spot between her brows. With a start, I noticed her hand was shaking when she extended it towards me, palm up, an uncharacteristically pleading gesture. No, I don't see. Mila, please, you can't do this sort of thing. What if you had an accident and then... She broke off, but it didn't matter. The flannel shirt I wore became heavier, burdened by the weight of words left unsaid. And then, maybe I'd lose you too. For the first time since the move, I threw my arms around her and buried my face in the comforting bend of her neck. I'm sorry, I said, my words muffled against skin scented with a combination of rosemary and horse liniment. Only slow rides from now on. Promise. When Mom stiffened, I gripped her all the tighter. I wouldn't let her slip away, not this time. Her hand patted the spot above my left shoulder blade, so soft, so hesitant. I almost thought that I'd imagined it. Like after this past month, she'd forgotten how. And maybe I did imagine it, because she untangled herself from my grasp a moment later and stepped away. I tried not to let the hurt show on my face while she adjusted the wire-framed glasses that only intensified the intellectual glint in her eyes. People said Mom didn't look like a stereotypical veterinarian. Not at all. Not with those acres of blonde hair and her petite frame and delicate features. She eschewed makeup as a waste of time, and her bare face only seemed to enhance her natural beauty. We looked completely different, the two of us. I was shorter, sturdier, with natural muscle like my dad, and his brown hair and eyes, too. The quarter horse to her thoroughbred. But I like to tell myself I had Mom's heart-shaped face and her stubbornness. You have to follow rules, Mila. I need you to be safe. She hesitated before tucking my wind-blown hair behind my ears. As her fingers grazed my temples, her eyes closed. A tiny sigh escaped her lips. I stood frozen in place by the unexpected sweetness of her gesture, afraid that any sudden movement might startle her back into the present. I so wanted this version of Mom back, the one who dispensed hugs and kisses and comfort as needed. But up until this moment, I'd been convinced that the old version hadn't made the trip to Clearwater. That maybe the old version had holed up somewhere in Philly, along with the missing pieces of my memory. Mom pulled away all too quickly, her right hand flying to the emerald pendant dangling around her neck. My birthstone, a necklace Dad had given her when I was just a baby. After his death, Mom heaped more affection on this symbolic version of her daughter than she did on the real thing. Her abrupt swivel kicked up dirt. I watched the dust plume upward in a small, tangible reminder of her rejection, a cloud that thinned and thinned until it finally dissipated into the blue sky. What would it be like to disappear so easily? Go walk Bliss out and rub her down. I'm going to check on Maisie. Mom called over her shoulder, her swift stride already carrying her halfway to the barn. If only I were as efficient at leaving things behind as she was. Oh, and Kaylee called. She wants to pick you up for a Dairy Queen run in half an hour. You can go there and nowhere else. Understand? Yes, I said, barely suppressing an eye roll. Come straight home after school. No going on anywhere without approval. Never let anyone besides Kaylee, who'd gone through a rigorous screening process, give me a ride. You'd think we lived in the slums of New York City or something. Not that it mattered. I didn't have anyone else to go with or anywhere else to go anyway. I leaned my head against Bliss's lathered body, taking comfort in her warmth, in her musky horse smell, before straightening. Come on, Bliss, let's walk you out. She snorted, as if in approval. I started a slow trek in Mom's footsteps, letting my eyes wander over the grounds that practically screamed country. Everything here screamed country. Like the gravel driveway to my right, and the dirt trail that sprouted off and led to the guest house ahead. Our new residence was a smaller, more modest replica of the vacant 8,000 square foot L-shaped main house that sprawled another half mile back. The same white paint with green trim, the same covered porch, no lounge chairs with their wrought iron backs crafted into the shape of horse heads. But we did have our very own bronze horse head door knocker. The dirt path continued from our guest house and led to the tall A-framed building to my right, the stables. Part of the reason Mom and I were here. Apparently, the owners had a sick relative in England and had to stay indefinitely. So Mom had been hired as the resident vet and caretaker. Lucky me. I suppose some girls would be thrilled to move to a big ranch away from the city to help care for horses, to make a fresh start. I rubbed Bliss's oh-so-soft muzzle. So far, the horses were the only thing working for me. Okay, I'm going to read this in chapters. We've left off on chapter 2. I am going to be posting back-to-back videos, and then since today is Thursday and I have school tomorrow, I will be posting after school because I don't have enough time to post in the morning. But on the weekends, I will probably finish this book with you guys. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye!